This is a special rock.
Thank you.
And I want to see the sales technique that Darcy's going to use here. So he's actually going to sell me this rock.
Oh God!
So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to have a think about your spiel that you want to put on it. But we're going to cut. We're going to cross live to you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back, guys, to MURO HQ. Today, I'm joined on the couch with the #1 real estate agent in town, Mr. Darcy Lord. Darcy, congratulations and welcome to the panel.
Thanks, mate. It's good to be here.
Mate, you're the first guest today in our beautiful surrounds.
How good is it?
Yeah.
This is exceptional.
Mate, we wanted to sort of go outside the box.
I don't think I've seen a business set up a professional studio to go and get the quality of content that you guys have done, and this is great.
Yeah, well, we've got obviously a lot of people that are working with us, and they want to basically put everything out there. So we've got some cool people that are helping.
Your business and the people that you're connected to within Brisbane, there's so much information, and that's it, for me. It's been valuable. I just think getting it out to everyone out there. This will be a wonderful thing. Yeah,
awesome. Thanks for that. I mean, at this point in time, where obviously communication's paramount, trying to get to people, one to many, that sort of thing. So, I'm grateful for the time that you gave us on the 27th of March. Back for those of you watching today, you go back to I think it was probably the second episode or third episode there that we had in the COVID time, and it was interesting because we're talking to Darcy about it, and I think you just come back from South Africa. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
In a lockdown period, so 6 days away. Yep. Come back, then you've got quarantine. I think you were in 10 days quarantine.
14 days quarantine after coming back from a 6-7 day break.
Yeah.
And then at the time I got out of quarantine, there was a stage 3 lockdown. So basically no one did anything for a month.
Yep.
And basically got fat. Fatter.
Grew the hair out. Got a mustache, and I think you'll call me Barry Gibbs before? Barry Gibbs, yeah. Good old
Barry
BGs.
Gibbs.
Plug for the BGs. Love the BGs.
Long hair and the mustache. Anyway.
So obviously you had a lot of time to think, right?
Yep.
At that time. So take us through, I suppose, now where you're at in your mind, where the property market's sort of shifted.
Yep.
And
definitely.
What you're thinking.
So we, from the ground floor, what we experience is the #1 thing we're always trying to keep a factor on is the number of inquiries that are coming through on property. Because the more inquiries you have, the more chance of getting more inspections. The more inspections creates greater competition and offers and greater prices. And it shows us how many people are innately interested. So I think when we went into quarantine and we went into lockdown, it was about 2 weeks where it was really quiet and we didn't see a lot. And because everyone was locked down, you couldn't go outdoors. It was just a weird couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was crazy time.
Oh yeah. And then about 2 weeks, after that 2 weeks, so when we went into the stage 3, the inquiries went absolutely the most amount of inquiries I've ever seen on property ever. And I'm assuming what's going on is everyone's sitting at home and everyone's been highlighted behind, geez, do I really like this space? Do I want to be in the space? If I'm going to have to be in the space, am I staying in it? And the inquiries just went absolutely bananas. Yep. And then, so we went from March, April was a weird month. There wasn't a lot of transactions, but the inquiry rate was just through the roof. And then literally on the first week of May, we ended up selling 4 houses in the first week. We pretty much did another 3 at the end of that month, and then in the first week of May, June, we did another 4. And as of today, we're very close to pulling another 3 or 4 together. Cool. But you wouldn't even think you were in a global pandemic. And touch wood for Brisbane, Queensland, and Australia for this place that we're in. But it hasn't felt the grip, I think, of what the world is feeling at the moment. And there's positivity in the market. People are saying, has there been any drastic changes in prices? And really, honestly, no. I sold 1 house for the highest price in history in Morningside for land, and I got the second highest price for a 2-bedroom house in Norman Park. And the amount of people trying to consume property at the moment is fantastic. Money's low. There's also a limited amount of stock at the moment because of there's a lot of cost to getting online and there's a cost of representing a home online. We're just seeing less homes enter the market, more buyers go to that space, money's staying really cheap with the banks at the moment. So we've actually had a very strong recovery from that April. April was 0, and then it's been getting stronger each month.
So you probably had a lot of people talking to banks at that stage. Yep. A lot of people going to monetariums trying to sort of put their loans on deferral. Yep. And obviously 6 months, 3 months, whatever it worked out to be, right? Yep. But it's funny because I remember at the time, a lot of people were sitting in their houses and almost like house arrest.
That's spot on.
I couldn't imagine anything worse, right? But I
Depends where you live.
Well, you know, if you're lucky to live out in the sticks and you've got the space.
You've got the grass and the views,
awesome,
it's nice.
Awesome, yeah.
But you're in a 2-bedroom unit, it's pretty tough. No, it's all right.
So I think, the inquiry rate at that point, you said, I think from memory it was about eight inquiries in a week.
It was actually like 8, yeah.
Yeah, and so now we're obviously changed and gone.
It was literally one of those weeks, I think I told a few people about this, but I had 300 something inquiries in the space of a week, or just over a week. Wow. And it was fascinating. Yeah.
That's crazy. And so you're now moved, obviously I think we talked about this, moved from Place,
Yes.
Balimba,
Yep.
shout out to Place,
Yep.
great bunch of people there.
Wonderful people.
Obviously gave you your start in career and so forth, but then you moved a couple of kilometres up the road, maybe even metres, to this place
48 metres up the road.
Yeah, well, it's a different shade of green, right?
Different shade of green.
So Belle, what have you found obviously now in the transition of the employee space in Place to now being somewhat of connected with the Belle organisation? What's the differences that you can see right now?
Place, and without speaking on too many company sides, but Place, man, they've got a great footing in Brisbane. You know, they've got a great bunch of people. There's a lot of representation from that company. The big difference from what I do now to there, I'm still selling houses, I'm still going out there, but you get to sort of see it from the business point of view, but you get a little bit more control when you start to. Eventually, this is the path of every person, because you become so competent in your expertise. Do you stay where you are? Do you go and branch and do your own thing? And that was the calling card. Like, it's time to go and do your own space. Yeah, cool. Go to train your own people. I get a real buzz out of that. Like,
it's been a challenge for you, right?
Oh, going across.
Yeah.
The start was, but it's getting to the point. Yeah, the start was, and now it's really kind of found its space. And I sort of found a really great amount of space. One big difference, actually, big organisation, a little. So we went from a space of about 70 people in a workspace to 8 of us. And what happened is your focus is better. There's less distractions going on all the time. My productivity went through the roof. And also the COVID experience, and everyone's working from home now. Like, there is a core function of our business now that we are like, these particular days we are working at home from the offices because there's no distractions anymore. Yeah. And our output is just dynamic. So it's been good. The last couple months have been really good.
And I think you've dealt challenges, I suppose, in the current climate, right? Because working from home, changing up obviously the real estate game, you know, not having your traditional go to work, have your operations and everything and so forth.
What was comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And then going now to a smaller team, I suppose you probably now understand a little bit of how our operation works, the fact that, you know, we've got a team of 20 odd, and, you know, being a close knit, you are nimble and you can make decisions.
We can pivot really quickly like that, and I saw that firsthand. Yeah. Where it was, okay, this is who we needed to take care of, this is what we've got to have to these people, these are the tough conversations. We're not having hundreds of them, we had 6 to 8 of them. Okay,
and I think the things that we wanted to talk about today were just flowing on from you know, the correction period, right? Yeah. So when I think interviewed you back in March, I said that I wasn't feeling comfortable about what was going to happen post-September, right? And the reason I say that is obviously because, you know, we've got governments have stepped in, they've come in and given us JobKeeper and JobSeeker. The banks have given us the moratoriums to obviously reduce, you know, repayments on mortgages and so forth. But where I think we have some issues to think about is obviously post-September. Yep. And I think from memory you were agreeing with me that it was a 6 to 12 month correction period. Yep. Are you still on the same page, or has that changed?
Yeah, I don't think we've really, take COVID away but talk about the economic side of it, I don't think we have experienced it yet. Yep. I think everyone's got this, there's 2 or 3 things, there's fear and then there's a reality, right? So the real concern is what happens when JobKeeper, the money opportunities and those things stop on September being the last. I don't know which one, I thought one finished in July. And then the last ones are in September.
The childcare one stopped in July.
Yeah. So there'll be these props that we've had to give us leniency in the economy, and I think that those things will start pulling a few of those away. Like, they're making those announcements, they're pulling this one out, and I think what eventually happens is you'll have the reality that there will be more people in technically an unemployment place. Yeah. And we've never. I'm not in my life have I sort of seen the unemployment rate to what possibly might go that particular way. Yeah. It will affect how it trickles down to residential real estate. There's 2 or 3 types of people that are involved in it. One of them is if you are thinking about consuming or growing a portfolio, there's been a lot of hesitation from buyers. Like the closer we get to September, there's more and more hesitation starting to turn up. What will happen after? What will happen after? And you won't know that till you get there. Right now, it's bugger all stock, lots and lots of buyers, money is cheap, so you've got to kind of pay a price, and we haven't seen a real drop. Come September, what does that mean? And look, it could be interesting over there, but different job sectors and different types of money prices and different price points. So if people are renting houses between, say, $300, $400, $500, $600 a week, and that audience has a fair amount of unemployment space, well, that line of investment stock will get affected. Correct. And then it comes down to the owners have got to profit, or the owners are going to turn that property back on the market, which is not a bad thing. Just means a bunch of investment stock turns back up on the marketplace, which is good. And the people that are renting probably are going into buying now as well. So we're seeing that becoming a really popular thing.
Are they mostly first home buyers?
Yeah, first home buyers, or going from like a small space to the mid space, which is like your unit townhome to house. Okay.
And that's where I probably think that there could be potential issues on the horizon, because if you think about obviously the unemployment rate right now, I don't believe that the current rate is actually right. Yeah. I think it's actually worse than what they're advertising. The reality is, the talk of the recession. Well, unfortunately, I believe we've been in a recession probably for at least 6 to 12 months. Yeah. And we haven't had the ability to come out and really say that. But going forward, I think if we was to read it properly, and again, I don't have a crystal ball here, right? But I've got a rock.
You've got a rock.
I could probably go and hide under it. But so come September. What I'm concerned about is, yes, JobKeeper payments stop. Yep. So we have all these people that were sitting there getting these payments, technically can't go back to work because their employer doesn't need them anymore, or they're not required. They've taken out a first mortgage on a first home that they've bought. The banks have stopped the moratorium, so they now therefore have to start making repayments. Yep. And we know what happens in a world where there's unemployment and we can't make repayments. Houses go on the market for sale, banks get involved, and so forth. So where I think there's some important issues to talk about today is that, number one, between now and obviously that period, yep. should we be jumping onto the market and saying, hey, you know what, I've got a property, I've realised the value in that property, should I put it on the market now and take it, cash up, and then look what's going to happen on the other side in a potential rebound after we go through that sort of low.
It's a really good time to. So what we know right now is that things are selling and can sell, which is what we know. It's happening at the moment. What we don't know is what will happen after that period of point. But if you were considering of taking advantage, making a move, growing a portfolio, getting a bigger house, whatever, becoming more liquid right now is a really, really smart position to be in, because if it goes, nothing really dies. I think that's one thing that everyone gets really scared about. Like, what happens if everyone does go off JobKeeper and that stuff? Like everyone keeps moving forward. Yep. It's just that the values might technically go to a different point. That is the best time to go and pick up portfolio. Yep. Like if you, this is a short story, but in 2011 I got flooded, and because I got flooded in Kangaroo Point, I got really angry, grew a beard again, long hair, twice. Anyway, is
that when you joined the BGs?
That's actually when I joined the BGs. Yeah. And I ended up buying a place in Dickens Street in Norman Park on top of a hill.
So I remember that one.
Yeah, that's right. Same thing. And because and I didn't even think about this at the time, I just wanted to buy something on top of a hill because I was sick of being watered and flooded. So like I was just angry and I went and bought something. But because
you bought a boat as well, right?
No, I wish I had a boat. Anyway, so we bought it in a period which, if you look at the graph and the growth and how the property values were going, it was a very depressed point of the market. Yeah. And what happens is eventually the market will recover. The people will keep living, will keep going on, will keep creating families, jobs will increase again, but when is the time? So I ended up picking up in a dip, and then it rebounded about 2 years later, and I actually made what got me into my now second and third home. Or investments, so to speak. But that was because of getting into the market and being able to get into the market. So,
and I think that's an important point, right? Because most people, if you're going to go into the property journey, will take it for a long-term gain, right? Yeah. And if you're in here to make a quick buck tomorrow, I don't think it's worth it.
It's not the right vehicle to be in.
It's not, exactly. So, you're proof and pudding that you've done that, you've made money out of it, and you've grown, right? Yeah. And you've picked the right stock as well. Because I think that's always a big issue that, people when they come to us ask about, property and so forth and what should I buy. The things for us is that you've got to have, obviously looking at some potential city view, some high level, it's up high and nice air.
Positioning's a big thing.
Positioning's important, right?
Positioning's massive.
Proximity
to
CBDs.
Yeah, proximity plays a massive part. Yeah. Like everyone theoretically everyone wants to be in a good suburb close to work, close to schools, close to amenities, and the inner city suburbs, the blue chip sort of areas, will continue to do that. And they're performing at the moment like the expression that's happening with builders and architects and the prices that have been achieved is just a case that is still very much part of it. Yep.
No, I think it'll continue. I think, like I said, there will be that obviously that lull, but we're not here today to obviously make it look like it's doom and gloom.
It's definitely not doom and gloom. It's just that this could happen.
This could happen, and I think what we need to understand in that pivot and change world is that be aware of what's coming. And I think I've heard a lot of commentators talk about the JobKeeper of late, and they're all saying that we didn't need JobKeeper. We got all these JobKeeper payments, but we didn't need it. And the reality is that, well, I'm sorry, but I think you probably do. Because post September, when potentially problems are going to arise,
If they had,
that money is going to be required, right? And that's where I see the issue. So a lot of people, and I've heard stories, and people have got this money, they went out and bought boats, they've bought cars, they've bought all these, done renovation to their homes and things.
I think online shopping's been pretty big.
It's gone crazy, right? But the reality is,
anyway.
after September, what are we dealing with? And that's what concerns me. And so I suppose today my philosophy for my clients and talking to you is just to basically say, well, we need to be putting that money aside so that come the rainy day, we're there to pretty much get out and go, okay, we can go ahead. And it's like I said, adapting, changing, and understanding. I think the three points that you brought out, I think back in the presentation about connecting, understanding, engaging. Right? Those three words are powerful because number one, you've got to connect with your people.
100%.
You need to understand your people. Right? And you need to engage.
Well, I think once you've got those first two, like connecting is do we like and love each other. And then second one is obviously, what was it called? So understanding the client. So understanding the actual need is what people need to know that you know. Do you actually know what I'm here for? Do you actually know what I want? Do you actually know where I'm going? And the more I get into their world, who are you? Where are you from? What are you after? What do you love? What do you like? That's the first part. Then it's engaging as well, this is how we're going to do it.
And that's interesting. Like a couple of experiences that I've had of late, even in recruitment. When you think about recruitment, you're dealing with people, right? And it so often happens, and I think we had a joke about this the other day. What makes a good accountant? And the reality is, right?
Yeah, we did actually.
For someone to recruit someone for me, right? And it's even like you put it on a dating site, right? And you're trying to find somebody. That person needs to know what you do. They need to see what you do and how you operate, right? And if you're matchmaking someone, well, you've got to go, well, hold on, I know this guy pretty well, I know that guy pretty well, and bang, I can connect them together, right? And that doesn't happen. So when that starts to connect like that, then you have that understanding completely. It seems to fly.
The speed of whether it's a transaction, a process, a recruitment, it just flies.
That's right.
And that's just us getting into their world better. But I don't think it's I don't think it's doom and gloom or anything like that. But I just think it's a reality. It's actually a really great opportunity for some. It could be tough for some. Like I'd wear that seriously. I had empathy for that conversation that some people may have that. But it's also a wonderful opportunity. The cost and repayment of a home at the moment, if you get it at a slightly better, get it at some point of better value, then you're better off no matter which way you go. And no matter what happens, we got to live, and you got to keep moving on, and you got to go somewhere. And I remember back in the floods, I remember back in the GFC, I remember back 2004, which was a pain in the ass. But like. You come out of it. It's just a period of times, and these period of times are really big opportunities. So I think anyone that's considering, if you are considering, I actually agree with these thoughts, or I agree with Michele's process, because it's a conversation we all continually have. But if you agree with this, then getting a plan, getting into action, getting a conversation going, and getting yourself liquid, or able to go and take an opportunity should it arise. If it doesn't arise, you just go back into it anyway. But the likeliness is that if you can get yourself into a liquid position at the moment, it could be very long-term beneficial.
100%. And I think the conversation around the asset allocation and what you have, okay, because that's very important. I'm always, and again with you talking.
I think you've said it several times. Get rid of this one, keep this one, get rid of this one.
Exactly. Yeah. And the reason being is that obviously property can only grow so much, and then there's a period where it sits stale or dormant for a bit. And then you've got another long period where you've got to wait.
They're big cycles, they are.
But there's so many opportunities, like there's so many fish in the sea, right? At the end of the day, you could buy that property today and sell it tomorrow, right? But move into something else. And it's all about, we talk about growing wealth and clients, right? Now, at the end of the day, our clients go out, do their thing, run their businesses, make money, pay taxes and so forth. But you want to have something to show for it, right? And I get upset when I see my clients and they haven't looked at the property portfolio and reassessed it every year, right? So I think that's an important thing, especially now that you're thinking, okay, well, you know, that property that I thought, you know, maybe I've made 300 grand on it, maybe I'll put it to market and I sell it, right? And I cash up. And then on the rebound, when we come into maybe post, you know, February, we jump back in with a market that's probably dropped, and then we're buying something potentially better.
There might be more opportunity. The other thing is like the homes that are, I talk a lot about like, everyone talks, knows the conversation like land banking and holding on to stock and extra pieces of real estate, but a lot of the time, the first pieces of real estate that actually come on the market are the investments. Like that's probably one of the first things that people go and say, I'll keep the principal, get rid of an investment. Those investments are usually in really good spots, especially in this inner circle, in a city, sorry. They're brilliant land sites, brilliant land opportunities, great development positions, great building sites. They're the ones that I would really look at. I think that they're fantastic. I think that if you've got something that has made you a few fortunes, because the market's been kind to us since nearly 2014 is when I really noticed the change. 14 was good, 15 was good, 16, 17, 18 was fantastic. That's the big period, and that's the wave. The market comes in and it has a kick, and it finds its space, and it'll hover around, stuff like that. But there will be another kick later on. But if you can get into a better piece of real estate now, that'll be a great springboard for you.
Oh, definitely. And I think you've probably got to think about you know, the ongoing ramifications of this, right? So when I said to you, I think earlier, I feel right now that we're in this sort of bubble and we haven't really experienced the effect of this COVID thing, right? It's not like it's happening.
It's sunny Queensland. Everyone's fine.
Exactly. You walk out in the street and everything's cool, right?
Yeah, everyone's happy.
But in reality, yes, there's these things gloomy behind the scenes, which is concerning, right? And I think the point on, you know, you're seeing more approved buyers. More so than before, right? So these people are educated. They've had time in house arrest to actually go and check out. You know.
Geez, do I want to be house arrested again in this bloody place?
So they're coming to you as approved buyers, which is probably making your job easier.
The decision's been made as well. Like if it starts off as a thought, and as soon as people are in action about it, it's like, I'm going to go and do this. I can't stand this space, or I wanted that extra room, or I wanted to be bigger, and I want to be in that area. And because of the sheer interest rate at the moment is just it's obviously it's great. It's now more possible. And so what's happened is, and a lot of people, and refinancing is off the chart. So going through one of those at the moment, the lag time in getting an approval on finance is so big, which means that everyone's going into it and doing it. Everyone's looking at their money. If you can get a better rate on your dollar, it's going to cost you less in your back pocket. If you can find an opportunity that's possibly going to come up, it's going to put you in a long-term, way better position. Yeah,
definitely. And there's a lot of people that have refinanced to get those payouts moving forward. So it's exciting. I think we've got some interesting times ahead.
Because they're interesting times, and you can either be in it or you can take advantage of it. But that's basically what it is: take the opportunity. Cool.
I wanted to touch just briefly on, because some of our clients out there listening with investment properties. So the questions come out a lot with the monetarium, with the delay on repayments, right? Now, ordinarily in the course of business, when you're not paying repayments, the interest component is not deductible, okay? So basically the banks have come out and said, we're capitalising the interest, so that'll increase your loan, all right? And there was a bit of conjecture as to whether you could claim the interest component. Now, we've had some clarification yesterday, I think, that we can claim the interest component on those loans, even though we haven't physically made the payment. So the ATO has come out and said we'll be able to do that. So that's some good information.
That's a good one.
For those that have got investment properties. What else did we want to talk about today? I mean, like really, you know, rentals are a funny one. I don't know what you're seeing in the market, but I know there's a few people that are sort of still jumping up and down and trying to use the COVID excuse.
I think the COVID excuse, probably hats off to all the governments and councillors and stuff like that, but the COVID excuse, it's got to be real. You know, someone that actually has gone through that process, and there's been a lot of empathy for that. But that's probably now a point of, have you really got a job or haven't got a job? You know, can you prove that? And if it's not legitimate, we haven't seen that. There was a little bit of that. I experienced a little bit of it. There was supposedly a lot of it from some agents, rent rolls, people I know who own them, but that's probably settled back a little bit. I just think it comes down to, actually, for investments and your clients, if your investment's costing you money and the type of tenancy could be involved in the September change, That's what I'd be concerned with. You know, because if you're really, really, really super reliant on every and each week, and a lot of people are, on that payment, and that person goes through a position of employment change, or they're stuck, that'll be the type of...
That'll be the first one that goes on the market.
That'll be the first one that goes on. That'll be the first stuff where it's like, okay, and realise it. And that's not a bad thing, but that's the point of it. Yeah, investments are good when it's all great, and when everything's... And the other thing is that the other side is that some people will just be okay to weather and hold. Like, the gift at the moment by weathering and holding is the fact that theoretically, a lot of rents are actually getting very close to equaling or covering a lot of the component of the cost, the monthly repayment. And that, I mean, if that's one of you, just sit down, hold on, and just let it keep happening. Take care. Oh, for everyone, take care of your bloody tenants. I know it sounds really, really dumb, but even if just to the manager, say, give, like, small gifts go a long way. Something to just go and check in on them is actually a really, really big thing. But yeah, just being aware of who are they and what they are, and because it could be tough for some, but be open to the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the interstate thing, I wanted to ask a question about interstate, right? So obviously that's playing a lot of.
We'll see you soon, City of Melbourne. Come up.
Exactly. So, you know, Melbourne are going to potentially into lockdown again. Who knows? You know, so I think the interstate buyers are not travelling to Brisbane.
The inquiry is there.
The inquiry is there.
Oh man, it's there.
The actual physical looking at and so forth is not there, right?
No, it's not.
And I don't know. I mean, me personally, if I was going to travel to buy something in Sydney or Melbourne, I'd want to go and see it first before making a transaction. So I think that's probably hurting a little bit.
Yeah, we haven't. There was definitely a hold. Like, so I got
probably a good thing for Brisbane people, because I know how much we love.
Come up, City of Melbourne. Come up. We're half the price. It's good. No, it's not. But it's not that cheap.
No offense.
Yeah. No, but we have seen, like, there was such a strong migration, and I think Brisbane is on the map at the moment. The weather rocks. Like, it's a bloody awesome town. It's good, and providing there's jobs, there was a lot of migration.
Where's that?
Brisbane.
No, the other one, Weather Rocks.
Oh, the Weather Rocks.
Oh, Weather Rocks.
The Weather Rocks, yeah. It's just, mate, it's middle of winter and it's awesome.
Yeah. I think we talk about these ones.
Yeah, that's for September. But there's a lot of migration, a lot of people trying to get up, and I'm talking to one particular couple now who's been trying to do this since January, and they're done. They're like, next house we find that's suitable, and they're crossing the border every week. Yeah, she's like, no, we're going to do it. We're going to make the transition. So there's a lot of people that, it's like a bottleneck, like that. No, you can't come up. The interest is still there. The interest is growing. The people are still going there. And then they go and say, right, you can come up. People are just, it has been happening. If they go into potential border lockdown again, it'll just stop that for a period of time. But the inquiry rate has been super. Yeah, we're coming up. We're coming over. Yeah, it's a good thing.
It is.
Brisbane, I think it's exciting. In the long term, it's exciting.
It's crazy times. I mean, no matter who you talk to, right, there's a lot of people out there. And I remember I was in a shopping centre probably about a year ago, and I don't go to shopping centre that often. So to bump into someone, and he started talking to me, and it was from Melbourne or Sydney. Yeah. And we're just talking, and the property came up, and he goes, oh, you know, I've sold my house in Melbourne or Sydney. I've come to Brisbane. Actually, I was on the Gold Coast, I think. And he goes, yeah, I've bought a house in Brisbane and a house in Gold Coast. Yep. We love it. We're never going back. Yeah. So, you know, it is a livable place. There's no doubt about it, right? But we still, I think, play that second, third fiddle to Sydney and Melbourne. And I think it's going to take a time to...
They're just big beasts. Like, you know, they've got double, triple, whatever it is, the population of what we've got. But that's the exciting side of it too, because it's, you know, it's transforming so hard, Brisbane, at the moment. Like, everyone knows about the second runway project. Everyone knows about the gigantic Queen's Wharf Casino Wharf area project. You
got any goss on that?
No.
On the Queen's Wharf? No.
Oh, goss on it? No, I haven't got any goss. I just know I run under there, and you can see the construction's there, all the pillars going in, all the foundation. Yeah. So in short, Brisbane's performing. It's a good place to be.
That's a great place to be. You know? Born and bred.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you weren't.
I'm not born and bred in Brisbane, but I am definitely a Brisbaneite now. That's it. Right? Yeah, I love it. I love the bloody place. I might throw one to you, because normally, I think in your world, April, May, and possibly June is your real tax planning time of the year. Like, that's when you're getting everyone sorted. And you probably experienced the same thing. COVID, you didn't get the chance to do that, or got less to do that. What was that like for you? What did you get? Look,
to be honest, it's been hard because obviously.
Yeah, you guys are flat out.
We are constantly busy, and we love what we do, right? But April and May, because we were doing a lot of the COVID work, yes, we did suffer in able to get our tax planning work done. So if you can imagine, I probably look tired. April and May were gone.
I think I caught you sleeping in your office the other day.
I think you did, actually. Actually, I had a quick sleep before you got here. But, you know, we've pretty much squashed all our stuff into June.
Yeah.
Okay, and you know, to the point that we're having 10 appointments back to back. It's just crazy, right?
Yeah.
But look, I think the opportunity to be able to sort of put it out there that tax planning is really important, obviously, for clients, right? And the reason I say that is that remember, you've just done your work for the first 9 months of the year.
Yeah.
Okay. And prior to 30 June, you want to know roughly how much you're going to pay in tax, right? You want to know what's on the cards and how we can sort of look at it. Not that we're here to manipulate things. We're here to obviously look at the income structure, the profit situation, and what can be done prior to 30 June, obviously, to look at...
You want to get the best result back.
Possibly reduce those things down, right? Within reason, right? So, so those are the conversations we're having at the moment. Yeah. Clients love the fact that I can produce a letter with all the scenarios on it, and I can go through it all and talk to them about the different things and scenarios that they have to put in place before 30 June. And I don't know about you, but look, there's nothing better than knowing exactly what I'm up for before the financial year ends, right? Because then I know for the next 12 months, before I have to get everything lodged, I've got everything under play. And
yeah, 100%, because it's not just this year and knowing what you got, but if you're going forward, and no matter what happens, we all are, getting on, like you said that to me for years. Get on top of it. What are you doing? Well, you got to get some ideas. And it's because of that conversation that we're probably here now. Yeah. I couldn't stress how important that would be in this period, especially now as well. Like, what a period of time to go and say, am I doing everything I can to benefit myself the best way possible with a plan going forward? Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it's the conversations you've got to have. Yeah. You've got to deal with it. You've got to understand it, and then you put it in place, right? And that's the important. So cool. Last question, I think, for you. You know, I'll keep coming back to this rock. I'm going to make you sell this rock to someone later on.
Yeah. Buy the rock.
What's the commission on the rock? So one of the points that's sort of raised, that's been coming up a lot lately. Yep. Again, with this whole COVID thing and people going, you know, well, you know, can we get reductions and all this sort of stuff? Yep. The truth of the matter is, if you've got a great agent selling your property, they know exactly everything about you and everything about the property. The reality is, you know, for you to come and sort of say to them, hey, I want a discount on the commission. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I question that because, I mean, because, you know, I'm not to say that you haven't done your work in the past, but now more than ever, the agent's really got to work for the dollar, right? It's just natural attrition. Like if the world has, if the people fear that there's less money around and must be involved, then it's only natural that we go and say, hey, what can you do? You know, can you go and do something? And that's probably a big conversation that does come up. I do hear it from parties a bit, but in the current climate, you're dealing with so much more now. Beforehand, when the market's booming and it's going nuts and things are walking out the door, anyone can go and do the job. 5 days, you get a certificate, go and stand in the front of a door, and you can transact a house. But in these periods of time, this is where you actually now need to find people that can actually negotiate. Oh man, the things you know now, like, you must know what a home is about. You must know about its construction. You must know all the ins and outs and have the answers. You can't fluff with that stuff. You've got to know intricately, in like your owner's position. You know, you don't need to know. I don't need to know the exact number of dollars in your account, but I need to know that if they got this would give them this result. This got this got them this result. And we must do everything we can to leverage that client as hard as we can. This is the best time to go and to really establish yourself as a professional negotiator, as a commission earning agent. Whereas beforehand, anyone sort of turned up and showed up, went to the door. So I'd encourage anyone that if you're considering doing something, ask really good questions about it and what are you going to do and say to the buyer, and then you should know exactly what we're saying. Yep. This is how I'm going to say to this buyer to do this, to get this reaction, to get this price, to get this blah, 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 blah. And these are the things that I need to know. We only make money in very small moments with buyers. When a buyer engages an interest and then they go and say, what can you tell me? And you can get the right question in there, like, what is important for you to know in order to make the decisions, blah, 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 blah. And if you can answer that stuff, you will protect and possibly leverage someone's financial position on their house at the moment, because it just goes tick for a buy, tick for a buy, tick for a buy. This guy knows what they're talking about. Yep. Okay, I feel confident to now part with my money to this house. And if you fumble that conversation, well, then you're well in rights to go and blood ask for a commission reduction on them because they're not doing their job. Oh, definitely, yeah, exactly.
But it does come up. It comes up more often now. But that's just because times are tighter, And I think you've got to prove yourself. I do a lot of performance-based clauses where it's saying if I can prove what it is that I do in the way I said I'd do it, would that be okay with you guys, and would you be happy to pay a normal commission for it? And that's a yes. Yeah. I don't think people should be getting paid massive percentages for delivering substandard results. Like that would just irk me and I've been a seller before. It does irk me. Yeah.
And that's a good thing. What I like about yourself, that you've played in the property market, you own property, you know it, you do it. That's great, and that's what people want.
And we've shared conversations, many along the years, because I think when you're actually in it, and when you actually, because it costs money to get into them, it costs money to get out of them, they cost a lot of money when they break, so managing that effectively and having someone that's managing that sale process for your heart's best interest and for your family's interest or your own interest, that's paramount. They've got to be on your side. If as soon as you feel like they're not on your side, that's a different person.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna leave everyone with this. So this is a special rock.
Thank you.
And I want to see the sales technique that Darcy's going to use here. So he's actually going to sell me this rock.
Oh God.
So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to have a think about your spiel that you want to put on it. But we're gonna cut. We're gonna cross live to you in a couple of minutes. See you soon.
This rock will be yours. Hi, I'm Darcy Lord. Do you like plants? I like plants. I like plants a lot, actually. In fact, if I want to exude that I was a professional, smart, on top of it, strong accounting firm, then I would want to have a showroom with plants in that showroom. In fact, if I wanted to have a showroom with plants in that showroom, that no plant is actually ever complete unless it was with its founding father, a rock. So I ask you a very serious question here today, Michele. Are you a powerful, professional, engaging, special, this man over here, turn him?
He's found the rock.
Then you're going to need this rock to complete this office.
Thank you very much.
I don't know if that was weird.
So Darcy, just wanted to say thank you, for jumping on the show today. I really appreciate you being here. I love the energy, I love the passion.
Yeah.
I love the Belle product, and obviously for our viewers out there today, if you're thinking seriously about selling, make sure you're talking, pick up the phone, call Darcy.
Happy to help.
He's happy to talk to you through things. Whether you sell or not, that's entirely up to you, but obviously it's good to have a trusty hand there.
Yep.
Again, thanks very much. I know we can't shake in this kind of time, so mate, appreciate the time.
Foot taps.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. So, I look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.